What's goody? It's your host J Rose as always, and I'm late as hell, but KD got traded from the Phoenix Suns to the Houston Rockets, so I just want to talk about the team dynamics and how I think they'll do next season. Let's get into it. Okay, so as you can see here, the Phoenix Suns trade for Jalen Green. They get Dylan Brooks, Common Mikhailuk, Rasheer Fleming, Kobe Bria. I have no idea who Daquan Plowden is. I don't know who Kobe Bria is either. I'm not gonna lie to you. And a second round pick. Did they get 5 seconds? This says second. I'm pretty sure they got 5 seconds in this deal. I'm almost positive that Phoenix got 5 seconds in that deal, but whatever. Houston gets Kevin Durant from Phoenix, and they get Clint Capella from Atlanta. And then I guess they trade a second swap and David Roddy and some cash. A bunch of nothing goes to Golden State. A rookie goes to LA. A bunch of nothing goes to Minnesota. The big stuff is on the top. KD and Clint Capella. And then we get Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks. What I think is very interesting about this trade is just the fact that there's not a lot of guard play on the Rockets. There wasn't really a lot of guard play on the Rockets last season. They had Fred VanVleet, Jalen Green, Reed Shepherd, Aaron Holiday. A lot of those guys weren't getting a lot of tick. Like Reed Shepherd didn't get a lot of burn. Aaron Holiday didn't get a lot of burn. And I don't know if they even really had any other playable guards on the roster besides those four. And that's completely like that's point guard, shooting guard, start, and bench. That's it. That's all I got was 4 guys. I guess you can slide Amen Thompson in there and Dylan Brooks as need be just to fill out those positions. But if we're being completely honest, these positions are not filled out, especially now that Jalen Green is gone. We're looking at a scenario where nobody on this team averages over 5 assists, or nobody on this team averages over 5.6 assists to be exact. Fred VanVleet averages 5.6 assists. We got a guy like Sengun, who's supposed to be like this Jokic archetype. He averages around 4.9 assists a game, you know what I'm saying? He brought it a little bit higher in the playoffs, but that's not really, I don't know. If you're gonna run the offense through Sengun like a hub and have him assist and have him play make for all these guys, that's one thing. But the fact that now that your team has Kevin Durant, it has Amen Thompson, it has Tari Eason, it has Jabari Smith Jr., it has Steven Adams, Clint Capella. There's so many bigs on this team and nobody to create for them. I just named you off. Sengun's their starting big. Then they have Clint and Steven Adams. There's so much size on this team. You add Kevin Durant on top of that, where this is my main point. Kevin Durant came from a situation in Phoenix where they had no playmaker. And regardless of that, obviously KD can go get his buckets, but asking KD to then play make for other people as well is probably not the situation that you want to be in. When KD asked to get traded, I said he got to go somewhere with a playmaker. Where the job that we're asking you to do is the best thing that you do on the floor, and that's go get buckets. I don't think Kevin Durant, inching towards age 40, should be asked to have to do this, that, and the third. And I think that makes perfect sense. I think if you're going to trade for a guy who's this old, who you can see his conditioning is getting a little worse. I'm not saying KD's on a big drop off or nothing, but a little worse. And when he's asked to handle a lot of the ball handling duties and asked to handle a lot of the playmaking duties, that's not his strongest suit. Kevin Durant is an amazing player. He's always been an amazing player. And the expectations for amazing players are just higher. They're just higher. I don't think you want Kevin Durant having to put the ball on the ground to really try and play make for other guys that often. He averages 4 assists and 3 turnovers. That's a horrible assist to turnover ratio. I don't think you want him having to do that constantly. When you have a playmaker on the team, a guy who can facilitate for others, I think that will make your team just so much better. And the fact that they're so big and have so little guard play, like their guard is an aging Fred VanVleet who is okay. He stepped it up last year in the playoffs, but he's been on a downward trot for these past couple of seasons, if I'm not mistaken. He went from 20 points per game in 21-22 and then 19-17 to 14 last year. So I just feel like his efficiency's been on a downward trot. His points per game has been on a downward trot. His assists per game have been on a downward trot. And his minutes per game are damn near the same. So I'm just looking at a situation where your best player on the floor right now is an old KD. Your best point guard on the floor right now is an old declining Fred VanVleet. Your best playmaker is still arguably the old declining Fred VanVleet, And you're going to need more than that. In terms of how to fix that, I mean, obviously trading one of your bigs for a guard would be useful. I don't see them doing that though, since they traded away Cam Whitmore and Dillon Brooks, which is kind of weakening their wing depth somewhat as well. This Rockets team, like, I don't know, it looks more clear cut to others, and it looks very questionable to me from some angles. Like, I just don't see it. And then we go to free agency, and all these trades you make, and you didn't get a guard. Like, Lonzo Ball was on the table, he's no longer on the table. Ty Jerome, well, he was on the table, no longer on the table. Tyus Jones, he was on the table, no longer on the table. There's one guy that I think can truly help with their playmaking deficiency, and I think that guy would probably have to be Malcolm Brogdon. I think the best days of Malcolm Brogdon are behind him. Once upon a time, averaging 21 points per game in Indiana, and he also averaged like 7 assists per game once upon a time as well. I think just picking a guy up like that could absolutely help you. It could absolutely help you. Like, you don't have guard play, and that's a 3-and-D guy. He'll get you some assists. He'll play within the offense. I think that would be a perfect signing for the Rockets, and if that were to happen, I'd feel a lot more confident and comfortable. But there's just no guards on this team. There's no guards on this team, so I can't put my full faith in the Rockets, knowing how similar the playmaking situation is going to be to when he was in Phoenix. Not nearly as bad. I don't think this is nearly as bad of a situation, but I do see that that's still an issue. And even when you have elite playmakers, a playmaking deficiency can still be there. So without having one of those elite playmakers, and I think it's going to be a lot more of an issue than a lot of people are making it out to be. Can Fred VanVleet turn back the clock, get that assist to turnover ratio back up, and be an elite playmaker once again, and probably get his scoring up once again since KD spreading the floor out? Maybe. I feel like playing next to Jalen Green possibly could have hurt Fred VanVleet's numbers, but I do believe that having more guards on this team and having better guard play would help out this Rockets team tremendously. I think we're obviously leaning back into having more bigs on your roster, so I do like the fact that they have KD at the 4, then they have Sengun at the 3, then they have Clint Capella, Sengun at the 5, then they have Steven Adams and Clint Capella as backups. They're set in that category. They can go up against anybody in the NBA in terms of big work. The Jokic's of the world and the OKCs that run double big, they could run a triple big. They could run KD at the 3, Sengun at the 4, Adams or Capella at the 5. They can seriously do that. And so I think they can compete with pretty much any team in the NBA. And when it comes to that, I do think that this offense, even with Kevin Durant, still has the ability to get staggered. It's just, I think it's a little too drastic to have all of these big men and not have any real guards. I'm not going to just sit here and hate. They were, the second seed last year? Very good team last year. I think they really showed out. The defense should still be pretty calm. I think getting rid of Dillon Brooks could be a potential issue. He was a huge part of their team, and I think Dillon Brooks' value to any team he's on has been very underrated in his career. I also think that we're going to need to see a jump from Amen Thompson offensively as well, or in the playmaking aspect. That would also help this team. One of the two, he needs to take a significant jump. I can see him being very useful in that role, driving kick, get it out to KD, get it out to Fred VanVleet. I think that could be a very big part of his game this next upcoming season. Just looking at this team, outside of Kevin Durant, right? Kevin Durant is going to give you probably 25, 26, 27 points on 50, 40, 90, most likely. Somewhere around there, right? So just looking at last season, Jalen Green was their leading scorer with 21. Now we're looking at a Sengun with 19, Fred VanVleet 14, Amen Thompson 14, Dillon Brooks 14. So you got rid of two of their top 5 scorers, right? In Jalen Green and Dillon Brooks. You replace one with KD. Cool. Now I'm very curious to see what everyone else's numbers look like. I don't think adding Kevin Durant to this roster makes anybody on this team better per se. I think it'll give them more space to operate. There'll be a little bit more attention on KD, but I don't think Kevin Durant innately makes his teammates better. So what I want to know is, our Sengun's number is going to go up. Our Fred VanVleet's number is going to go up. Our Amen Thompson's number is going to go up. Our Jabari Smith Jr.'s number is going to go up. I forgot about Jabari Smith Jr. and Tari Eason. This team is huge. This team's huge. I really do think that's an issue. How many big men they have opposed to how many guards they have. That's definitely going to be an issue in my opinion. But yeah, I just want to know who's going to step up. Because just adding KD's 27 on good efficiency is not going to make this team a title contender off rip. And I think that we might be, you know, just leaning into them a little bit too hard. They're a good team. They're a good team for sure. But we saw what happened the last time KD got traded to a good team. It was Phoenix. And that did not work. So, I mean, it did work low-key. Low-key. When they had Chris Paul, they looked fine. That's just me, though. But at this point, I just want to know, like, what else is going to be here. Because I know KD's scoring is a certain. But in terms of just where the rest of the bulk is going to be coming from, in terms of the playmaking deficiency that they have, and honestly, the scoring deficiency that they have as a team, I want to see where it's going to come from. I really, really do. I'm not as sold on the Rockets as I am other teams that made moves in the offseason. The only reason why I feel a little bit more confident in them this year than last year is simply because Kevin Durant is far better than Jalen Green and nothing else. There's still aspects of this team that I feel like they do have holes they got to fix. But as a roster, I think they're still going to be good. I just feel like once you cut down to the playoffs, there's so much nitty-gritty things. The smallest details are what get you fried in the playoffs. And I feel like that can definitely be the case again this season with this team. But we'll see. We'll see. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like on this video. And if you did not, make sure you hit the sub button because you will enjoy the next one. And I'll catch y'all in the next one.